A very good morning. It's a pleasure to open the Nordic Financial Ecosystem Forum. The Nordics demonstrate the benefits that well-integrated capital markets can bring. You have vibrant capital markets that support a large number of IPOs, 174 in the Nordic and Baltic countries in 2021, raising more than 13 billion euros of fresh capital. Your markets provide a valuable source of financing to SMEs and support a broad and liquid market for listed equity and bonds. And the Nordic example helps point the way as we move towards integrating capital markets across the European Union as a whole. The Capital Markets Union is a big structural project to achieve just that. So today I want to take you through what the Commission has done so far on the CMU and what our plans are for the next steps. Capital markets have a really important role to play in supporting a resilient European economy, allowing businesses get access to more sources of funding beyond bank loans, supporting startups and innovative businesses, and helping individuals get more opportunities to save and invest for the long term. The Capital Markets Union wants to support all of that, whether you're an investor in Stockholm, a startup in Copenhagen, or an individual in Helsinki. And the Capital Markets Union can support growth and a more competitive European Union on a global level. We kicked off our work with the first CMU action plan in 2015, and we've made great progress since then. The European Parliament and Member States have so far agreed on 12 out of 13 legislative proposals in this action plan. And these include new rules on securitisation, covered bonds, crowdfunding, and the strengthening of SME growth markets. This work is having a real impact on European markets. We've developed a set of indicators to measure progress, and they show that EU capital markets have undergone structural change for the better. The most recent figures show increases in IPOs, private equity, venture capital, and insurers' holding of equity. In 2020, we adopted a new action plan to step up work on CMU, and we're making progress on implementation. Last year, we made a proposal for a consolidated tape. Today, we have a lot of market data available, but it's spread across different sources, and it's hard to access for anyone but the most connected investor. The consolidated tape will provide up-to-date information on the best prices and execution venues so that all market participants and investors have a complete view of the market. We also proposed a review of the Central Securities Depositories Regulation to make the settlement discipline regime more effective and proportionate. Later this year, we'll deliver a number of proposals to advance our aims for the Capital Markets Union. One of the main goals of the CMU is to make financing available to companies of all sizes, at all stages of their development and for all their needs. So we're working on a new listing act to make listing on public markets easier, especially for smaller companies. Our proposal will include targeted changes to prospectus and market abuse rules. We're also looking at the more complex structural issues that contribute to fragmentation and barriers between different national capital markets. The Nordic capital markets are a demonstration that integration is achievable. Breaking down barriers between countries allows financial services providers in small markets to access European markets for their products and services. It creates opportunities for local companies that would otherwise not be available, and it fosters greater competition. So in December, we'll table a proposal on corporate insolvency. Insolvency is often identified as one of the main causes of financial fragmentation, but this issue is also complex and politically sensitive. Our proposal will seek to harmonise parts of corporate insolvency procedures to make it easier for investors from another EU country to recover value in insolvency. It will also make insolvency proceedings less burdensome for SMEs. In addition, we can't be serious about developing the CMU if the EU doesn't have robust and well-developed financial market infrastructures. If we want to improve financing for firms, broaden investment opportunities and support financial stability, we need deep and liquid markets. Central clearing capacity is an important dimension of capital markets infrastructure. but we are still over-reliant on central parties outside the European Union. And this is also a matter of financial stability. In the unlikely case of something going wrong, we would not be in the driving seat for decisions. So we want to increase the attractiveness of clearing in the EU to support the development of infrastructure and reform supervisory arrangements. These measures will be part of a legislative package before the end of the year. The Capital Markets Union should be for everyone, and so part of our work in making capital markets more accessible to citizens, this is a key part of the process. This is another area where Nordic countries have been leading the way. For instance, in 2020, 80% of households in Denmark and Sweden held capital investments, either directly or through intermediaries. We want to support participation by retail investors across the EU. And so next year we will put forward a new retail investment strategy. And this strategy will look at the retail investor journey from the very beginning until the very end of the investment process. So we're going to look at the rules of how financial products are distributed and how suitable they are for retail investors. We look too at the quality of advice given to retail investors. And we will look at the information provided to retail investors, particularly in a digital environment. The challenge is to strike the right balance between protecting investors and not overloading them with information, but to make the most of the products on offer, to be able to assess the advice given, to weigh up the information disclosed, a retail investor should be financially literate. And here we've already done a lot of work in the Commission on Financial Literacy. With the OECD, just at the start of this year, we published a financial competence framework for adults. And this lays down the skills and attitudes that an adult would need to have in order to be financially literate in different areas, like saving, investing, and planning for the future. And we're looking at how we can continue our work on financial literacy in the retail investment strategy. The Commission is assessing whether it's feasible to introduce a requirement for Member States to promote financial education of consumers in sectoral legislation when it comes to responsible investing. The Capital Markets Union is about unlocking finance and getting investment flowing across the single market. And one of the most urgent investment needs is sustainability. The ongoing energy crisis and its impacts on the cost of living highlight the need for more urgent action in this area. And this is one of the biggest challenges for the financial system recently. Again, the Nordic markets are doing really well here, counting among the pioneers in the development of green bonds, just one example. The EU Sustainable Finance Initiatives, including the EU Taxonomy, are intended to promote the private financing of urgently needed investment as part of the green transition. The taxonomy includes things like solar panels, renovating buildings for energy efficiency, insurance against climate-related risks, and many others. The EU Green Bond Standard proposal will encourage market participants to issue and invest in EU green bonds. The recently agreed Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive will improve the sustainability information that companies disclose and put that information on an equal footing with financial information. This is revolutionary. And since 2021, we also have the Sustainable Finance Disclosure Regulation, which requires sustainability claims for financial products to be accompanied by disclosures backing up those claims. We know that the different legislation being proposed and implemented entails substantial changes in existing practices, and we're closely monitoring their entry into application. But all of these initiatives are vital if we're serious about meeting our climate targets. The Capital Markets Union is more important than ever to recover from economic shocks, to mobilise the enormous investment required to tackle the climate challenge, to support Europe's global competitiveness. For all of these, we need the CMU. I trust that Member States and the European Parliament would want to be ambitious on these initiatives, because we all need to work together to build the CMU. And I look forward to supporting the upcoming Swedish presidency, which will play a crucial role in the initiatives that the Commission is putting forward in the coming months. Thank you.